Hello everyone, I welcome you all on my channel. Today in this video I will here take a multiple optimal solution case which I will try to solve through a solver, and side by side I will generate here a report regarding this. This one is a LPP this here we have a linear programming problem, which is a maximization problem here. Here we have two variables in this problem, and we have here three constraints and and we have here non-negativity restrictions. In this video today, we will try to find out through reports that we will generate here, like how to uh, find that this one is a case is of a multiple optimal solution or is it of a unique solution case. What is the difference, how we can differentiate between our solution, that it is of multiple optimal solution case or a unique solution case. So let's start with our solution part. So in our G4 cell I will type here the first variable, which is x here. Okay, so and in our H4 I will type here the second variable, which is the y. Okay, now below the x I will here type the objective function coefficient corresponding to x, it is the 2, and corresponding to y I will type here the objective function coefficient of y, which is given in our question, it is the 2 and 5. Okay, I am here writing the variables so that it's clear to all that these are the variables. Okay, now as you can see here we have three constraints, so I am giving the name to my constraints here in a cell F7 C1. In F8 I will type here C2, then I will type C3 in our F9 cell. Okay, now corresponding to C1 constraint I will here write the coefficients for x and y. So in our G7 cell I will write here the coefficients for my x variable, it is the 2, and for the y variable I will write here 5, which is a coefficients in my first constraint. Okay, so as you can see that in our corresponding to x and y variables I have here written these coefficients. Okay, in the similar way I will write here the coefficients for my second constraint, it is the 2 corresponding to x, and corresponding to this one y variable I will write here 1. For the third constraint we have here 2, and for the y we have 3 coefficients for the third constraint. Then after that what we will do here, I will here fill these 3 cells from I7 to I9 by a color. Why I am filling these cells by color? So that when we find a solution and we can when we analyze it, we will find that these are the values that has been utilized. The values that we will get in these cells, they will represent the resource, or you can say the left hand side will represent here that how much quantity has been used. Okay, okay, now come to the cell J7. Here I will type the inequalities for the first constraint, it is the less than equal to. Even for the second constraint we have an inequality less than equal to, and for the third constraint we have an inequality less than equal to, and I have typed all these three inequalities in our cell J7, J8 and J9. Now come to the cell K7. Here I will write the BI values for the constraints. So what is the value of B1? It is the 50. Then for the second constraint B2 value is 100, and B3 is a 90. Then after that I will fill this one cell K11 by a same color, yellow color, because this one cell will give me a maximized value of z. Okay, so here I will get the maximized value of z for this one case, and I have given a name for this one, say let's maximize z. Similarly I will here fill these two cells from G11 to H11, or you can say G11 H11 cell with the same color, yellow color I am filling it. You can choose any color. Why I am filling these two cells with a color? Because here I will get the values for my x and y variables after applying the solver. So to solve this one case of LPP, what we require here, we are required to activate our solver application, and as you can see that my solver is already activated in my Excel. Okay, so in case if it is not activated in your Excel, then please before doing question must activate your solver application. How you will activate it? So look here, you will go to the this one icon, or to the this one MS Office icon, or you can say you will go to the file, then after that go to the options or Excel options, and then after that you will go to the add-ins. In add-ins, here we will find some applications are active and inactive. So my solver application, it is an active one, but for your convenience I would like to show you how to activate it. So before that I want to inactive it. So let me inactive this solver first. So look here how to activate a solver application. So for this, what we will do, we will go to this icon, click on Excel options, click on add-ins, then look here, we have here add-in in our inactive application add-ins. So click on it and click on go. Then after that you will find here add-in box. So check in solver add-in box and click on OK. Okay, so as you can see that in data we have here a solver application, it gets activated. Sometimes it can take a few times in a configuration, so please don't worry, it may take some time in configuration. Now before applying solver, we required here to apply a formula, which is a sum product formula. Okay, so what we will do here, I will type here sum product formula, which is inbuilt formula, equal to SUMP. As you type SUMP, you will find that we have here sum product formula. So double click on it to select the formula, and then we will click on shift plus F3. Okay, so as we press shift plus F3 together, we have here a function argument box. It's asking for the array 1. In array 1, I will here refer the cell from G7 to H7, which are representing here the x coefficients for x and y variable corresponding to first constraint. Then in array 2, I will refer these yellow boxes which are in cell G11, H11, where we are required to find out values of our x and y variables, and I will leave array 3 as it is, leave it blank as it is, then click on OK. Now what is required here? I required here to copy a same formula in our I8 and I9 cell, but before that what I can do here, I can freeze some cells here. Okay, so as you can see that corresponding to x and y variable, or you can say corresponding to G and H column as per the Excel, these entries are in these two columns in our G and H cell only, and your just row is varying here. So before copying it vertically, what is required here, we will freeze our column and we will keep our row varying. So remember one thing, in case if you are copying the formula vertically, okay, so in that case we require here to freeze our column and keeps your row varying. In case if you are copying a formula in Excel horizontally, what is required here, we required to freeze our row and we will keep our column varying. Okay, so always remember these things. So in this case I will do what I will do, I will copy the formula vertically, so it means I will here freeze my column. Okay, only in array 1 case, because in array 2 case these cells will not vary in C2 and C3, these will remain as it is, so we will freeze these cells completely column wise and even also row wise. So how to freeze it? To freeze, we put a dollar sign. Okay, so I want to freeze my G and H column. I will put a dollar sign before G and before H. Now as you can see in our formula bar here, we have here G11 and H11. So I will freeze it completely. How I will do it? I will select it from G11 to H11 and I will here press F4 one time together with the function key. Clear? So after that I will press enter. Then after that go to the cell I7 again, bring your cursor to the lower right side. So as you bring your cursor to the lower right side, your cursor will turns into a black plus sign. So click on it and hold it and then drag it up to the cell I9. What I will find here, that look here in our formula bar, as we click on cell I8, that your row has changed here, okay, and your columns are same, G and H. So here we have in our array 1 G8 and H8 with G and H are freezed, and your array 2 is as it is copied. Even we will check for the I9. So as you can find that the row gets changed here and your array 2 will be a same one. Now we will apply the same formula, sum product formula, in our K11 cell, where we are required to find out maximized value of Z. So for this, what we will do here, we will type here equal to sum product, double click on it to select the formula, and we will here press shift plus F3. So what is it asking? It's asking the array 1. So in array 1, what we will do here, I will here select the objective function coefficients from cell G5 to H5, okay, and in array 2 I will select the cell from G11 to H11. I will leave the array 3 as it is blank, then press OK. Okay, we will not freeze here anything, we will keep it as it is. Then after that, come to the solver application, click on it. Okay, so as you can find, that is asking for the target cell where we require to find out our maximized or minimized value. It depends upon the case. So I want my maximize that value for my question in a K11 cell. So where we have applied our formula. So it is already selected here, because before applying the solver, before starting the solver, I have already selected this one. So it has already freezed our K11 cell. Okay. Now equal to, in equal to, it's asking what type of case is it. So it's a maximization case. Now by changing cell, I will refer the cell from G11 to H11. Then after that, come to the subject to the constraints. In it, click on add. So as you can see that it's here we have a dialog box, add constraints. So what we will do here in add constraints, as you can see that my format is somewhere similar to this one, a dialog box. Clear? So in our cell reference, I will refer for my first constraint, this one cell, it is the I7 cell, check for the inequality, yes, it is less than equal to, and here we will refer the constraints, first constraints bi values, it's a 50. So I will refer here the cell K7. Next we will click on add for a second constraint. For second constraint, cell reference will be I8. Inequalities, if we look here, yes, it is less than equal to. For the constraints, I will refer the cell K8. Then after that, click on add. Now for the third constraint, I will here refer the cell it's a I9. Here we will check on inequalities, and in constraints I will click on the cell K9. Then after that, at last I will click on OK, because we don't have any other constraints. Okay, so as you can see that all the constraints gets entered here. Then after that, we will click on options. in options you will find that this one is a linear model. Yes, we will check this one box, and we want it to make a non-negative, so I will click on these two. If I will check in these two boxes, then after that click on OK, and finally I will click on solve. So as you click on solve, as you can find that the solver has find a solution, and it's giving a maximum value of z, it's a 50, and your value of x is 0 and value of y is 10. And as you can see that in our first yellow box for the first constraint, it's a 50. It means the this one constraint, it's a completely used 50, left hand side showing 50 and right hand side is also showing 50. Your second constraint showing that we have used only 10 units and out of the 100 units, so this one is not completely used. You can say a C2 constraint, or you can say C2 resource. And C3 is here representing that the left hand side we have here 30 value. It means 30 units have been used, and right hand side we have here 90. It means some stills are unutilized. Okay, these resources are not fully utilized. Okay, only first resource is a fully utilized one. So I want my solver to keep the solution that the solver has found. I will generate here a report. I will generate here two reports, answer and sensitivity. So click on it, answer and sensitivity, and then press OK. So as you can see here, before sheet 1 we have here two reports, answer report 1 and sensitivity report 1. Now how we will find that it's a multiple optimal solution case. So for this, what we will do here, go to the sensitivity report. So as we all know that the way to find out a multiple optimal solution through a manual mode, what we look for a non-basic variables in our final table, whether they have a 0 value or not. Clear? So as you can see that your y is 10, it means your y is a basic variable. Okay, your C2 and C3, these are not fully utilized. It means these are also basic variables, because we have here 3 constraints. It means we have here 3 basic variables. So y, C2 and C3, they are representing 3 basic variables. It means your x and C1, they will be non-basic variables. So as you can see here, corresponding to C1, we have here final value is 50 and it's not a part of solution. It means manually if we look here that it's not a part of solution, it means this one resource has been fully utilized and its shadow price is 1. Okay, but look here in our x, its final value is 0 and reduced cost is also 0. It means this x variable, which is a non-basic variable, its Cj minus Zj value is 0. And for the C1, look here, its shadow price is 1. It means its Cj minus Zj value won't be 0. So for x variable, which is a non-basic variable in this case, it has a Cj minus Zj value is equal to 0. It means this one is a multiple optimal solution case. Okay, so in this way we can find out that this one is a multiple optimal solution case. And look here in our answer report 1, you can find out the final values of our x and y variables. Maximum z value is 50, and you can see here that C1 constraint is a binding constraint because the resource has been fully utilized here, and here we have 0 slack variables. C2 and C3, regarding C2 and C3 constraints, what we are finding here that the status is not binding because these resources are not fully utilized, and here we have slack variables around 90 and 60. Okay, so thank you all for watching my video. I hope you all will like this.